What's going on,
Woof.
y'all?
Hey, Witch, you still single?
Yeah, she ain't bring nobody with her, just like always.
Baby, you eating? You look a little skinnier than regular.
I gotta pee. Let me go pee.
Pee it out, baby.
I come against anxiety. You would not have me today.
Now there's about to be a collective worry on your eggs soon. We know you're holding yourself, which is honorable, but we just want you to be aware. In Jesus' name, amen.
Can I get a hot dog? A hot dog next to you. Thank you. I love this movie.
So you not dating nobody?
Nah, but my business actually been picking.
Business not gonna keep you warm at night.
How do we get here? How do we get here?
It's true, baby. The business is not gonna. It ain't gonna do it for you.
I think God's timing is perfect.
You still blaming your singleness on God's timing?
No, I
With the
just
time, what you think he waiting on?
I don't know what God's plans are for me, but I know they're to prosper me.
If you going to the store, give me.
All right, that's I always like to try to start these conversations with something a little fun, a little comical to kind of introduce us to the topics. And that right there, that was Just Whitney on Instagram. Follow her. I really like her. She does a lot of dry humor from a millennial, Christian millennials perspective out here dating. It's a lot of dry humor, which I kind of like, being a Seinfeld and Office fan. But she's really funny. The topics of tonight is happy single myth, the games men play, and how to attract a quality mate. Welcome to all the new and old group members. Welcome to all some of the returning group members. It's good seeing y'all here. A little bit about what this group is about. We're about learning something new, encouragement toward better health, wealth, and relationships. We're not a singles group. We're a friends group. It's different expectations. We're about socializing with other positive people. We do online and in-person meetups. Tonight, you are part of an in-person meetup. No, you're part of an online meetup. But we have a lot of in-person meetups on the docket. We're a meetup group created for Black people, but we don't discriminate on others based on race, religion, or sexual orientation. So, all right. Let's see some context on why we're having these relationship conversations online is to meet new people and see where they stand on important relationship issues, to learn more about the opposite sex. I got to mute real estate there. To learn more about the opposite sex and to restore and encourage healthy Black relationships through engaging the conversation, to see more two-parent households or nuclear families. So that's why we're here. That's why we're having this relationship conversation online. This chart right here comes from the Institute of Family and Living Studies. As you can see, some stats of 2018, only 36% of children grow up in homes without fathers. That's the lowest of any ethnic group in the United States. And you can see here, this chart here, prior to the 1960s and 60s and 70s, Black folks were the most married demographic in the US. And then after the 1960s and 70s, something changed that. And we begin to see a sharp divergence, as you can see here on the graph. And this is just comparing whites and Blacks. But for other communities and other ethnicities, these numbers are actually the contrast is actually steeper and sharper, and it's more drastic. But anyway, I just pulled that up just to kind of get us thinking on why we're here talking about this, because there's a real crisis in Black relationships. So part of the goal in having these conversations is to, in some way, in our very own way, in my very own way, to maybe help to mend and alleviate some of that. As you can see here, Black marital stats as of 2019, 50% of Black folks never married. That's the lowest of any demographic, or highest, depending on how we're talking about it. But other groups, 34%, but for us, it's 50%. So there's a real relationship crisis in the Black community. A little bit about three different mindsets, because a lot of these conversations are relationship based. And we talk about different eras of dating, different approaches to dating. And right now, we're currently in a modern era of dating. So a lot of the problems, a lot of topics that we talk about, a lot of what we're going to talk about tonight is talking about relationships from a modern dating culture mindset. And in a modern dating culture, there's different things you see. So some things that characterizes expansion of online dating and social media, acceptance of non-traditional gender roles and feminism. We have a lot more non-nuclear families structures and acceptance of that. For example, this is a well-regarded Black feminist of today, Brittany Cooper, and she says, we don't need nuclear families for Black thriving. So that's the kind of the mindset that's out here when we talk about families and what have you. So also with the modern dating culture, sexual liberation, promiscuity, what distinguishes it is short-term sexual encounters, distinguishes dating today. non-exclusivity and multi-dating. So a lot of folks are dating multiple people at once. So that's kind of the name of the game here. Whereas in times past, they did courting, and in back in Africa, it was arranged marriages. But when we really talk about our message here, at least what my message is, and what I try to encourage folks is to do intentional dating. Intentional dating is kind of the opposite of casual dating. And casual dating or a casual relationship is a physical or more emotional relationship between two people who may have casual sex or near sexual relationship without necessarily demanding or expecting additional commitments of more formal romantic relationships. Motives vary. So that's a casual relationship, but with intentional dating simply means it's slowing down. It means taking a break from the casual swipe right and swipe left culture and being more mindful about the process. And that's what, when we're having these conversations, that's what we're in our own way, we're practicing a sort of mindfulness about how we approach dating and relationships. And we, folks who've been here a little bit a while, we've covered everything. We talked about everything. We've been intentional, and we've been trying to talk about what we think the best approaches is. And that's being intentional. It means thinking about what you truly want in a partner. We had a conversation about that. Well, what are you looking for in a partner? And reflecting on patterns and habits that may be keeping you from that person. So on to the conversation tonight. The games in play is happy single a myth, and how to get cuffed this season. I just put a little spin on it because that's kind of what we're talking about. So this weekend, I just want to give everybody forewarning. I know we got a lot of people RSVP for a picnic. We had to push it back on account of the rain. And right now, it actually didn't turn out to be too bad last weekend. So the weather pulled an okie doke on us. And I don't know what it's going to do this weekend, but just a forewarning, we may have to push it back one more week. I want to do this right. We have a DJ, we got food, we got all kinds of stuff happening. And we just can't be out in the rain trying to play kickball and other field games. It's not going to make for a nice event, but I'm going to see. But you just keep if you're RSVP for that event, just kind of keep your eyes peeled to meet up to see what we're actually going to do. And if you can't make the new day, I'll push it back another Saturday. And you already made a contribution, just hit me up and I can refund you the money. No big deal. But we just want to do it right. We want it to be fun. We want everybody to have a good time. Also, some more other events coming up. Y'all keep your eyes out for a Halloween party in October. It's going to be either that Friday or Saturday before the actual Halloween day. It's going to be in the Decatur Clubhouse. For any of y'all been to the one events that we've done there. Kevin's currently behind the scenes work. Kevin and some more ladies are kind of behind the scenes right now trying to work and put that together. It's going to be awesome. Let's see here. Also, if you're on GroupMe, there's a pajama party. I know how some of y'all like to party and get down, but there's a pajama party that's happening. It's not going to be posted on Meetup. It's on GroupMe. So if you're interested in something like that, make sure you plug into GroupMe. We're also trying to work on a Black movie night. If anybody has we have like a projector and we have like a screen to display it on. We just need a location. So if anybody knows of a good location, preferably something that's centrally located, that about 100 to 120 or so people can show up at and pull up at, with not being a super big deal, hit me up and drop me a DM or something like that and let me know. Also, Kevin's also working on a karaoke night because we had a lot of people who couldn't make that first karaoke night that we did. So we're trying to get another one going. But let me go ahead and get on to the conversation at hand. But to start, we have a poll here. So get by your computers, get by your phones. I'm about to launch a poll. This is not a gender-based poll, so everybody can answer the poll. And I have 3 questions here. I'll give you all a second to get by your computer. And the questions I'm going to ask is, how ready are you to be in? I like to gauge to check the temperature of the people in the room. So how ready are you to be in a relationship is question 1. How long after meeting someone does their true colors begin to show is question 2. And who plays more games, men, women, or both in equal amount? So that's the poll here. I'm going to launch it and give you all about a minute and a half to respond, and then we'll show you the results of that. So question 1, the poll is now launched. How ready are you to be in a relationship? Is question 1. How long after meeting someone does their true colors begin to show? When do you begin to see the real them? And question 3 is, who plays more games, men, women, or both in equal amounts? And in fairness, we have more ladies here tonight. So I'm not expecting that. I'm expecting an extreme amount of bias for that question in terms of the answer responses that we get. Also, let me also say we did a dope men's dinner this past Saturday, and it went really, really, really well. We're going to do another one. So guys, if you're not on GroupMe, go ahead and get on GroupMe and tap in, because we're doing some awesome stuff over there. It was a good time, man. We got to chop it up. I got to hear some real time feedback from a lot of the brothers in the group about the way they thought things were going, just about their personal situations, where they're at with dating and all that stuff. And it was really enlightening and informative. And a lot of brothers questioned the effectiveness of having these conversations. Few guys, I think, asked me, "Hey man, do you think you're getting through to the women with these conversations?" And I didn't get a chance to explain it, but I don't think my goal really with these conversations is to get through to one gender or other. I'm trying to get through to everybody and have us all be intentional daters. And I can see Kevin was trying to do a lot of trying to be a ringleader there and bring brothers back together with talking about some accountability and stuff. But some brothers just won't hear it. A lot of guys were hopeful about their dating prospects. Seemed like about half and half. Some guys were not hopeful about dating at all here in Metro Atlanta. About other half of guys were more hopeful. But it's dope, man. So we're gonna do another men's dinner in November. So also, I would like to see the ladies kind of do something like that. And I'm not going to ask to be present, but I would like some feedback from the ladies about how they feel the things are going in the group, or things they would like to see from the group, or just their general thoughts and impression of things. But let me go ahead and end this poll and share the results here. So as you can see, how ready are you to be in a relationship? 51, about half are all the way ready, 30% kind of ready, 10% not at all, and another 10% are in. Okay, we got 9 folks here are in a relationship. I guess they're just here scooping up some game, or maybe trying to help us single folks out. So how long after meeting someone does their true colors begin to show? In the first 1 to 3 months, 30%, 3 to 6 months, 43%, and the numbers begin to drop off from there. Only 2 people say you only really start to see the real person after you put a ring on it. So that's good. Who plays more games? Okay, we got 30% say men play more games, 11% say women, and let's see here, about 60% say we both play in equal amounts. Okay, so we got a room that's kind of even kill room here. A lot seem like we're not. That's expected for this group. We're kind of balanced group of people. We don't think one gender is necessarily a problem. We realize we both have some issues that we need to address and work on. So first part we're going to talk about, and I don't have a lot to share here, y'all. And a lot of times I give with these conversations, I give data, and it's not really my opinion. On this one, I'm branching out a little more, and I'm trying to give my opinion more. And shout out to Samantha. Samantha had me and a few other brothers come and talk to one of the groups that she's doing, and I was able to give my opinion. A lot of times I view myself as more of a moderator than as a panelist or an opinion giver. But tonight I'm going to try to branch off and do a little bit more opinion stuff. But thanks, Samantha, for that. That was an awesome time. But anyway, so Ron has said this. Sure, men play, ladies. So these are the games that Ron says men play: PlayStation, Nintendo Switch, Call of Duty, Madden Football, Microsoft, checkers, and chess. So that was a funny comment I thought Ron had made. But and a lot of this stuff with this stuff here, I think a lot of y'all already know. And maybe if there's any comfort for the ladies, I think y'all know the games that men play. So the stuff that I'm gonna come up with here is pretty basic, but I think if anything, it may help for the ladies to hear a man actually confirm that, hey, these are the games that men play. But the first question, before we even talk about the games that men play, I kind of want to ask the question of why. Why do men play games? And I think there's one factor that overrides all the other factors as to why men today play games. And guys, if y'all dispute this later, y'all can certainly take your notes down and dispute me when we open it up. But the number one reason why men play games, everybody guessed, is sex. That's the number one reason why men today are playing games. And that's I got to put the dumb meme up there because I know everybody knows that. So that's the motivation. But there are also some other things that are into the equation as to why men today play games. And one is he doesn't really like you. And I don't know how different men and women are, but a lot of men will still spend time with women they don't like for access to sex. All right, let me close this poll here. They will still play, they'll still hang out and entertain women, even women they don't like, if it means not cutting off the supply of sex. So that's one thing. Also, he's not ready to settle down. That's another reason why he'll play games with you. It's the fear of missing out. You may be cool on all fronts, but he's holding out for something else that's out there. Let's see here. The last final reason is he's seeing someone else. We hear about it all the time. I know anybody who's been out here dating in Atlanta. You know, we've heard the stories, dating a man who was married, has a girlfriend. So these are reasons why men are playing games. But here's some of the games that men play. One, he doesn't keep his word. Not keeping his word is a major game. Showing lack of effort, it's a major game. Keeping things stagnant, keeping the relationship stagnant, keeping things where they are. He's not leading the relationship. He's not moving it forward. He's keeping you at a distance. You haven't met his friends. You haven't met his family. You don't know much about him. You don't know what part of town he works on. You don't know what part of town he lives on. You know, it's all these kind of things that he's doing. He's kind of keeping you at arm's length because he doesn't want you to get close. And that's the game he's playing. He's not clear on what he wants. He's not intentional with you. When you go to have a conversation with him, he's not being intentional. But let me get this quick video here.
Hey, let me tell you something. If a man wants you, you ain't gonna have to ask for nobody's opinion. You ain't gonna have to wonder. You ain't gonna have to hire no coach. You ain't gonna have to talk to your mama, your best friend. When a man wants you, it is undeniable. He is not going to be inconsistent. He is not going to be lazy. One thing about a man, he goes after what he wants. So if he wants you, you gonna know.
So I think that was so key. And that was Tony Gaskins Jr., well-regarded relationship coach. And he said, if a man wants you, he's not going to play no games. He's going to let you know. And, you know, he's not going to play no games. So I thought that was so key and so imperative to the conversation we're having tonight. Somebody shared that in the group me. So I thought that was a great share. So the way to avoid that is to just be intentional and date men who are intentional. So that's my 2 cents. But I do want to hear from y'all about the games men play when we open it up. But I think the way you can avoid that is just be intentional and date men who are intentional. So part 2 of conversations, how to attract a quality mate. And these are my opinions. So I want y'all, if y'all are there, y'all are looking and observing, I want y'all to be writing, taking y'all own notes and sharing with everybody the ways that y'all think that to attract a quality mate. But I've come up with 7 items. And I say this as a person who I think I have a moderate amount of success out here dating when I want to. I know I've been single for a minute, but I had some wins under my belt. But these just from my perspective on things that I think that will help. One, I think, is you got to get right spiritually. Whatever that is, whatever your belief is, whatever whatever grounds you, I think you have to get right spiritually first. And I think that influences and changes a lot of other things that can go down to the things you eat, the way you just feel about yourself, your self-esteem, who you are, knowing that, having your own personal identity and knowing what that is. So I think getting right spiritually is key. And I think that's number one. Whatever that spirituality is for you, you may not be a religious person, that's fine, but you just need to get grounded in whatever it is that works for you. So I think that's step 1 to begin to attract a quality mate. Number 2, I think we need to be realistic about what's out here. We say this all the time that a lot of people, we talk, and I think Ken's here tonight, and Ken, we frequently hear Ken talk about this thing of dating in your lane. And a lot of people we can want and we desire things. This is men and women, but do the things that we want and desire. Do we qualify for those people? And I think we have to be mindful of that. We have to be realistic. And we have, you have to know what the numbers are. If you want a man and making X amount of dollars, do these men exist in high numbers? If you're a guy and you want a woman that looks this certain way or is built this certain way, do these women exist in numbers and do you qualify for them? So we just have to be realistic. Number 3, we have to make an effort. When you do find somebody, show an effort. I think right now in the current dating climate, a lot of people are so afraid of getting played and they don't want to put themselves out there, that when they do meet somebody who's attractive and worthwhile, that they don't really put themselves out there and they don't make an effort to meet and get to know that person. They expect the other person to do all the work. That was one of my major complaints with dating today is, you meet a woman, everything checks, all the boxes check, but she doesn't put forth an effort. And it's a two-way street when we talk about relationships and getting to know somebody. So if don't worry about getting played, but if you found somebody that's a quality person, make an effort to get to know that person, really, whatever that is. Some guys will talk about women need to open their purses and start paying for dates. I'm not saying all that. I'm just saying, just make a conscious effort to get to know the person you're dealing with. Ask questions. work on yourself, change your mindset, or change your vibration. That's key. And I actually got a video here from another brother who talks about that. So let me share that right now.
How do you set yourself up to attract that incredible partner?
So one, you got to be yourself. So finding yourself is number one. All right. You can't connect with someone if they're connecting with the fake you.
Ooh,
all right.
yeah.
That's a false connection. So you have to discover who you are, become confident in that, stand strong in it. Now, who is drawn to that person, you know it's real. All right. And so that's where we begin. Two, you need to exude positive energy. All right. To me, and this is, I think this is very important for women. All right. Because the reality is that it's men, or the type of men that a lot of women want, aren't going to be drawn to a negative woman.
No.
There's millions of good women, but that doesn't mean they're positive women. All right. And it's that lack of positive energy that holds them back more than they realize.
Really?
Yes. And
Just like even just saying negative things throughout the day. They might be a good person, but if they're always complaining or negative.
Exactly. And not even just what they say. Again, it's how they're coming off. Because
facial energy, their body language.
Yes. It's like, so look at it like this. I tell people all the time, it's not what you say, it's how you make them feel. All right. So you can say all the wonderful things you want, but if in your presence they don't feel at ease, they don't feel peace, they don't feel that positivity, that's still going to throw everything off.
If you say nice things, but you have a frown,
Exactly.
it's like, what's the point?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Exactly. And what a lot of women aren't realizing is that their energy is off because they have walls up. They're so scared. They're so fixated on protecting themselves.
Because they've been hurt in the past.
Exactly. Haven't healed from those things. But I tell people all the time, the same walls you have up to protect you are the same walls blocking your blessings. All right. So you don't realize you're restricting your ability to love and be loved because you're walking in fear. All right. You can't walk in fear and expect all these wonderful things to happen. It doesn't work that way.
All right, that was Stephen Speaks. I liked what the brother had to say there. And he talked about changing your mindset, changing your vibration, changing your attitude. You are what you attract. And so oftentimes, a lot of people, they have all these other things together and you just can't find out whether or not with nobody, but they're just like, they're so down, they're so depressed, and they're just not fun to be around. They don't have a lightness to their being where they're not attracting people to themselves. You know, that's what they call the RBF, the rest in B face. You know what, just change your energy, change your vibe. You attract better. I know it. All right. So number 5 is cast a wide net. And what do I mean by that? I mean that if you're trying to attract a quality mate, go to where the people that you're attracted to are and where the people who are in your demographic. So whatever that is, if you're spiritually, and if you're a person who has a spiritual leaning, if you're a Christian woman, and I got there's a few sisters in here with Christian women, and I get them all the time because they talk and they complain about their dating experiences, and then you ask them, well, hey, where are you meeting these men at? And it's anywhere but church. And then they hit you with, well, men ain't in church, but they are. I see them, and I'm not trying to call anybody liars or anything like, but they are. The men are in church. They're in there. They're not there to a high degree like they once were, but brothers are there, or you can see them at other Christian type of activities and what have you. But the men are there. There's men out there. If you're, right now, as of 2018, I shared this stat in a GroupMe chat. According to Stanford research, 40% of new couples in 2018 met somebody online. So if you're a person who's seriously committed to trying to find somebody and be in a relationship, to discount online dating, I think is a mistake. You may have just been on the wrong dating websites, but they work. It works to the tune of 40% in 2018. And I don't know how the pandemic may have changed any of that, but certainly cast your wide net. Open up, if you've been more specific, maybe open yourself up to dating different sorts of people than who was traditionally your type. So just cast a wide net. A wide net's going to bring in more fish. Last point here, let's get accountable. Find somebody to be accountable, somebody who's going to be real and honest with you, and somebody who's not just going to lie to you. Somebody who can keep it real with you. Like if you're trying to, if you're somebody who, if you're wanting one thing, and it realistically you can't have that. You need somebody who's going to tell you, hey, look, who's going to keep it real with you and keep it 100. Those are the kind of people you want in your corner. People who's going to keep, you know, who's going to be honest with you, who's going to tell you about your flaws. If you have attitude, you say, hey, you know, Susie, you know, like, you know, you would have a man, but you're, you know, you always have an attitude. You need people like that in your corner. So you just got to get accountable, and don't, you know, if people tell you stuff, be receptive to it, especially if it's coming from a loving place. So those are my six points for how I think folks can attract a quality mate. But the number one thing I think is to get right, to get your get that spiritual right. And I think everything else, once you get that right, everything else begins to change as a result, and you begin to focus on those other points too. Getting right spiritually is going to change your vibration naturally. All right. All right, so we're gonna get into another poll. We just got one more section here. I don't like to talk for too long, y'all. So we've been going about 25 minutes, and then we're gonna open up to y'all. But let me share this poll here. This is a gender poll, and by gender poll, I just mean that we do it separately. We do men and women because I like to see the differences on the way folks think. So let me launch this poll here. The women are going to do this poll first, and then the men. It's the same poll, same questions, but we're just breaking it down. So women only for this one. And let me launch a poll here, and I'll read off the questions. Who struggles more with accountability, men or women? This is women. Women are answering. What matters most in a mate? Physical attraction, finances, or status? Question 3 is, what's your status? Are you dating? Are you taking a break, or neither? Neither. For the 10 folks in here who were in a relationship, y'all would hit NA for that one. Unless you're in an open relationship, then that's a different story. Are you open to online dating is the final question there in the poll here. And these are women only answering that. And we're gonna let the fellas answer in a second. We just want to let the women answer, see how they think on this stuff. Oh, this is funny. These results always surprise me. We'll give y'all about 15 more seconds, and then we'll let the fellas answer. I think I know the way the guys are going to answer with some of this stuff here. All right, I'm going to end the poll in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, let me share the results here. As you can see, who struggles more with accountability? No surprise there. 80% of women say men struggle more with accountability. But what I think is really surprising is the 14 women who say women struggle with it. Okay, that's interesting. Let's see how loyal the guys are when answering that question. I'm curious to see how the guys will answer that one. So what matters most in a mate? 43% physical attraction, 36% said finances, and 21% said status. So that's actually surprising. It's a little bit more balanced in the responses for that one. And what's your status? Let's see here. Okay, 22% of us are taking a break. 22% of ladies in here are taking a break from dating. That's interesting. Let's see, are you open to online dating? Okay, 72% are open to it, and 24% said no. Even though 40% are meeting, they just said no, I'm not doing it. It's not for me. All right, guys, it's your turn here. Let me launch the poll for the fellas. Y'all already know the question, so I'm not going to leave the poll up as long, but we'll let y'all get y'all's responses in there. The poll is now launched. We just got one more slide, y'all, and then we're going to open it up. I want to hear y'all's thoughts on this stuff. I want to hear y'all's thoughts on how to attract quality mate. Is happy single a myth? And we can talk about some of the games that men play. Did I miss anything with my list? Do y'all think men play games? Y'all got some rebuttals on that? Y'all want to talk about the games that men have played? You know. All right, we'll give the fellas 10 more seconds to answer. And 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let me end the poll. Let me share the results. So guys are a little more loyal. They say women struggle more with accountability. And that was, when we had the men's dinner, that was a recurring theme that was talked about with a lot of guys. Was they feel that a lot of women today struggle with accountability and being accountable for things. Maybe that's probably a different conversation for another day, I think. The difference, because women are saying, a lot of women say men are struggling with accountability more, and men say women struggle more. What matters most to the mate? Physical attraction. No surprise there. But 3%, 3 guys or 15% of guys said finances matter more than all those other categories. That's interesting. Two guys said status matters more. Any guy who answered to finances or status want to chime in real quick on that? I'm interested in why y'all answered that way. Let's see here. Okay, so more guys are dating than the ladies. I think 50% of ladies were dating, or 65% of guys. And are you open to online dating? More guys are open to it than ladies are, and that would probably hold true of what I've really seen and observed. Well, at least what the data says is out there in terms of there are more men who are online dating than women are in sheer numbers. All right, so I'm gonna stop sharing there. So some interesting thoughts there. We got this last slide here, and then we're gonna open it up. So is happy single a myth? I want to talk about this because frequently we hear this thing about happy single, and a lot of folks saying they're happy single. We hear it all the time, but let's open it up and maybe try to dissect it just a little bit to determine the merits of that. This here is from the Institute of Family Living Studies. They said the fact that men are legendarily wary of marriage is stranger than it first appears. Both men and women benefit from marriage, but men seem to benefit more overall. Oh, let me stop sharing the poll. My bad, y'all. Men seem to benefit more overall. In addition to being happier and healthier than bachelors, married men earn more money and live longer. And men can reap such benefits even from mediocre marriages, while women, the benefits of marriage are more strongly linked to marital quality. All right. So that's saying that for men are generally happier in marriage. And for women, well, we'll talk about that here in a second, but some science suggests that men are happier in marriages and women are happier single. And we're gonna open up an article here. You see, I got the single ladies dancing there. So science seems to suggest that. And live here. Let me see if I can share this. No, I can't share it, but let me see if I can. I'm trying to share it so y'all can see this article. There we go. So single women live longer and are happier, science says. Let's be real, we knew it all along, but after constant questions from family about when are we going to settle down, it doesn't hurt to have some lab coat approved research in our own corner to back up our single life living ways. Lo and behold, science has delivered exactly that, and evidence that suggests that single women are actually happier than their coupled up and kid having counterparts. Moreover, the findings also show that they are more likely to live longer than married with friends, according to a leading expert in happiness, Professor Paul Dolan. And I actually looked up his credentials to see that they just weren't pulling the wool over our eyes and just trying to throw some stats out there. And he seems to be legit, like a legitimate professor who's researched happiness, and it says that these ladies are happier. So where do we go from there? Let me open that back up here. So what do we do with that? So for women, marriage means more domestic work. That's some more data that I looked at. And husbands create 7 hours. These are more research who've done this. I know guys don't like to hear this, but I'm just trying to show here that for a lot of ladies, marriage is not, especially a whack marriage, is not an appealing proposition for a lot of ladies. As you can see here, husbands create 7 hours of extra housework, one study says. Let's see here. It's for married women who can't figure out why they have always so much housework. Researchers may have the answers. Husbands. A new study from the University of Michigan shows that having a husband creates an extra 7 hours of extra housework a week for women, but a wife saves her husband from an hour of chores. So as you can see, men get saved an hour from chores and women pick up 7 hours of additional chores. So the happy single thing, I think there seems to be a little validity on that, but I want to ask y'all, because I know y'all may dispute it, but I want to figure out here. Let me get my poll. Let me get my keynote back up. Where'd it go? Give me a second here, y'all. The keynote. There we go. All right. Let me share this video here. But I want to ask the question, is it cap or not? That is happy single cap or not? So let me share this quick video. And one brother has a theory as to why. Maybe he can kind of point to some of the reasons as to why this may be the case.
Check this out. Black women are tired. They're tired of being independent. They're tired of being looked at as the strongest. They're tired of having to take care of the kids by themselves. They're tired of bearing all the weight. Don't believe the hype that you see on all of these social media networks. Black women are tired, and the reason why I know this because I talk and have conversations with a lot of black women. But what a black woman really want, she want to be able to go to the soccer games. She want to not have to be the sole leader and sole provider of her family. She want to support the man who God gave her to be with. She want to be a helpmeet. The thing is, she's been placed in this position where she's had to lead. She's had to step up to the plate and become something that she really didn't want to be in the first place. She want to support her man. She want to nurture her kids. She want to nurture her husband while pursuing things that she's passionate about. That's it. It's that simple. The thing is, she just can't find a suitable leader that she trusts to come in and relieve her of these responsibilities so that she can finally get some rest, because that's what she wants. Rest.
All right. So that was one brother. His theory is it seems like he's saying that they're not happy single as much as they are just tired. They're just tired of running across the wrong sorts of men. But that doesn't equate to necessarily being happy single. So I'm going to stop the share here. Now I want to hear from y'all here. I know that we covered a lot. We talked about a lot, but I'm curious to hear y'all's opinion. Let me just kind of give y'all a perspective on some of the questions that were asked, or some of the things that maybe y'all can chime in on here. But I asked, we talked about how to attract quality mates. Do you have some tips for people, maybe some of the relationship folks, on how to attract a mate who's quality, or maybe people who aren't, but who have had success dating and who have attracted quality mates? Can y'all give us some tips to the people on how to attract quality mates? And the way you do that is we go in order by folks on camera first, and you got to click the reaction button at the bottom of Zoom to raise your hand, and you'll be in the queue to answer. And then, is happy single a myth? Is the whole happy single thing a myth that we hear a lot of men and women talk about? A lot of folks who are single out here and they're saying they're happy single. Is that a myth? Is it true or not? What do y'all think? And then lastly, the games men play. So we can weigh in on any of those. Somebody can weigh in on any of those conversation points. How y'all doing? Y'all quiet? Nobody got nothing? Y'all just listening. Y'all okay? We got Dane. Okay, we got Ike. Okay, we got a good little queue. The brothers are ready to share, to break us off with some knowledge, and we'll let them go. I'm sure they're going to break the ice. But thanks everybody for coming. Thank y'all for tuning into the presentation, and we're going to start hearing from everybody here. Let me put Dane's going to be up first. All right, Dane, you got it.
All right. Hello, family. All right. So just to hit on those couple points, happy single, is that such a thing? I think we get caught up in single as far as being young and single and free, not being obligated, being out on our own, and doing what we want when we want. And you can be happy and content in that. I think sometimes we get so focused on the single thing because a lot are single these days, that then we forget about the benefits of partnering. So me, I'm in a relationship. I have a sister down here who is in a relationship. She has her child and baby father who's in another state, and long term, from her end, dating down here has been difficult as far as being in Atlanta, because we're both from Ohio originally, just 4 years removed, basically. So, sh- she has a hard time meeting the guy she would like to meet down here, and she tells me the difficulties she has with that. One of those things is that as she put it, she has problem finding guys who are sincere, seem to be confident in self, know what they want, and just in her mind don't appear to be themselves. In that. So that's the troubles she's had in dating. My history, I am divorced once before I moved down here. Part of the reason I came to Atlanta because of divorce, and then when I had some family move down here, especially my mother, I moved down here. So after I divorced, I was in these streets straight up. But I did take time to definitely reflect on why that happened and what brought me there. And I will say, the advantage I would say if I had to give advice to younger men is to hold off until they a little older, at least in their 30s, because once you get to a point where you have time to reflect and the self improvement things and know more about you and you're certain yourself, um, and you're able to set boundaries and be clear on where you're going, I feel like it's easier to kind of hear with somebody. My current girlfriend, the way we met, I met her. When I met her, I was very straightforward. Because at that point, when I was back out, I made it a point to be upfront with anything I wanted. When I met her, it wasn't a love at first sight. It was, hey, how you doing? You look good. Hey, you want to be friend with benefits, straight up. Um, so she'll even tell you today she don't even know why she's still with me today, how straightforward I was. But when it came time and I dealt with her for a period of time, and I guess when she decided she liked me, she grew up watching her mother cater to her father, doing things like cook, clean, take care, and that came naturally to her, which was kind of a rare thing to see with women these days. So she did that consistently, not right away, but a few months into it. When we got to a couple years of dealing with her, because I wasn't just dealing with her when I originally was dealing with her, but after a while, it was just like I saw things that I needed to see on my personal checklist that made me feel like I wanted to move forward. And when that day came, I was like, all right, that's it. I let her know, like, I won't want to make you the one. That was it at that point. But I only made that decision because I was sure about myself and the things I was looking for. Because I tell you, before that, I was very content with just never getting married, straight
Mm.
up. So it was things I was looking on my list that would cause me to go for it and go into a relationship. But that's because I took some time to reflect and kind of decide on for myself what I wanted, and in the pursuit of building towards my personal goals. So I would say that that's one thing I think a lot of people is they don't if you don't know enough about yourself and how to set boundaries, what your goals are, you can't really plug in with somebody else to reach goals. And I think long-term thinking and goals, if y'all want these long-term things, that's a lot of thing I feel like a lot of people are missing.
All right. Let me ask you this now with your sister and her struggles on the dating market. Do you think that there is like a legitimate lack of mates out here available to women in the Atlanta dating market, or do you think that
Well,
is maybe something your sister's doing wrong?
now I will start off with just the numbers. Everybody know that Atlanta, the numbers is just skewed anyway. So to start off with, there's a bigger pool as a man. There's a bigger pool of women to choose from, and it seems to be just numbers wise a smaller pool for women. Second, um, I don't know. I think what I'm finding when I'm talking to some of my girlfriends I made down here is that it seems like guys from Atlanta that they're dealing with, they seem to find guys that don't have set goals for themselves or don't, saying are figuring things out. And a lot of times they're saying they rather find a guy from out of town because it seems like those guys have a more set purpose as far as where they're going and things like that. Um, I don't, that's what from the female's perspective, what I've been hearing. I don't know if that's something to do with, the culture down here or things brothers get caught up with down here. Um, but
Hmm.
uh, yeah, but I mean, really, is those that seems to be the biggest thing is they feel like the guys out here aren't sincere, aren't themselves. They're putting on a facade. It's like they're trying to put on an image more than trying to be really build towards goals and be themselves. But at the
All
same
right.
time, I mean, guys who are really on their goal, they tend to marry early and get out the game early. I'd find that too. So that might be part of the problem is you got to catch these guys at the right time. You play around too much because once a guy he could be in the streets for a while, and then once he decide
Yeah, but
that's it.
you're saying that guys they get married early, but then on the same hand, you're also telling guys y'all need to wait till you're in your 30s, which isn't exactly early. So
Mhm.
I think that guys just need to man up at whatever stage and age they're in and go ahead and get serious and focus about relationships. What do you think about that?
I think so. I don't know if you, from a guy's perspective, the times where I've been the best for women in relationships is
Mhm.
when I'm in the process of building, or I've been in a job and I can see a purpose of where I'm going, or being more established. So that's why I say for guys, I feel like if they can build in their 20s and focus on that and not really get caught up in a relationship. I mean, you're gonna deal with women and things like that, but and then I think a good cutoff point in starting at 30 is being like, okay, you know, saying I've reached these goals. Now's my time to find someone. Because I feel like with that additional age and that experience and getting themselves settled, I think that causes them to actually function better as far as relationships, is my opinion.
All right. Thanks, Dane. I'll let Dane go on a little longer what normally because a lot of y'all are shy tonight. We only got 3 people in the queue, so we're letting these folks get everything off their chests here because a lot of y'all seem shy. I also do want to mention too, we're doing a book review of The Color of Money and talking about the black banks and the racial wealth gap. That's not going to be on Tuesday of next week. That's on Monday. So normally we do conversations on Tuesday night. So just be mindful, y'all. If you read the book, or even if you haven't read the book, or you just want to hear and join in that conversation on Black wealth, that's going to happen on Monday, not Tuesday. So just be mindful of that. All right, Ike, what you got for us?
Yo, what's up, guys? How are y'all doing? I'm really surprised that not more people aren't speaking today, man. This is a really good topic tonight. So yeah, like right off the bat, I've been in a relationship for a long time. I'm in one now, but I want to kind of just talk from a little bit from a guy's perspective dating, right? So what a lot of people make the mistake with when it comes to like dating is they kind of see it as either a job interview or a talent show. I heard someone refer to dating or say marriages as a business. Is there a financial aspect? Yeah, sure. Right. Is there things that you have to, have before you enter a relationship? 100%. But when you hyper focus on that type of thing, you sort of go out on building yourself just to find a mate. And I find that a little bit problematic. One of the biggest qualities that people have to realize too, is that when you're out dating or when you're out meeting people, one of the best or more attractive qualities is you loving and enjoying yourself, your talents, what you do, who you hang around, where you're from. You have to not just be yourself, you have to form an identity. Because if you have none, then why should anybody care? And, on the other side too, when we talk about accountability, this is always a weird, point where like accountability in what sense? Is it accountability in, saying that, I did wrong and I should probably improve on myself? I feel that I was one of the people that answered, men and women both have that same problem. But I would say that it is a big issue that everyone does have. But we have to first start out with, saying that, we failed on this date, like we didn't do very well. We were mostly negative during this interaction, and who does it more? I don't really have the stats for that. But from my perspective as a guy, one of the biggest problems that I had when dating with women was this need to be, entertained or to be wowed, right? That's a lot of pressure on
you talking about you doing the entertaining or the person entertaining you and wowing you?
No, me doing the entertaining.
Okay.
Right. So a lot of people think that, like that's what you're supposed to do. But in a lot of senses, a relationship is on 2 fronts, right? You have to also be receptive to new ideas, new, ways of planning, new events that you have to break out of your comfort zone. But if you're treating it like an interview and the person you're dating is the interviewee, you will get nowhere. And big point that you made, Cardo, earlier, where I think this is the accountability part, where you have to have people in your corner. You have to have people in your corner to not just tell you that you're right every single time. You have to be like, hey, you know what? Maybe you can try speaking a different way or trying to, better yourself, be more positive, right? Because everyone is so obsessed with, sharing their latest story on their terrible date or complaining about stuff. We are consumed by negativity nowadays. But, just to sum it up here, it is a long step process. It is a long process that we have to start out with. And it comes with bettering yourself, staying more positive, and making sure that, you're just honest. I would say I had something else, but I forgot.
I'm sure you can way back in a little later if it comes back to you. But you said a lot of great things there, and a lot of people, I liked your perspective because it really wasn't grounded in the gender war, and I can tell it was really from a balanced place. And you said form your own identity, and you also talked about us not feeling the pressure to try to entertain more or less. And we had a conversation in the group me, and some I think Harold's here, and Harold asked a question about pickup lines. And I think that can kind of start to fall into that whole thing of where we're trying to entertain and we're looking for ways to kind of impress, and we're not being our full authentic self. And I shared that for me, when my last relationship, it just started off with an exchange of highs and then an awkward silence, and we stood there for a few seconds, just kind of looking and searching for the next thing to say. But it was authentic and it was real. And I think a lot of us could do well to try to have some more authenticity and not just being ourselves and not feeling that overriding pressure to entertain. Do you have something else?
Yeah. Just last thing. One piece of advice for anyone who's like, say, single, whatever, is to remember that when you go out and you're like dating, in my opinion, it's best to not just go out to a bar or go out to a place designated for dating. Like, you have to do something that you're interested in, like legitimately take a class, join a club, something, because that's how I met my significant other, was playing a pool tournament. And basically, like, we're into that. We do this, we travel and all that, but there has to be something that connects you, some interaction. You can't just meet someone, go on a date and then go, here, what do you got? Like, it's just not the best thing in my opinion.
Yeah, good stuff. Hey, y'all, drop in the chat. I want everybody, let's get everybody to kind of participate and weigh in there. Drop in the chat some good places to meet quality people, because Ike had talked about how he had met his lady in a pool tournament. So drop in some places in the chat. Let's see. Bacchus, of course, Bacchus strip club. But let's get some supermarket, museums. Okay, we got some good suggestions. And y'all, we got 100 people in here, and there are people who are not being able to make it in. So let's make the best of this time. Y'all go ahead and share and give y'all's opinions, and let's take advantage of for the people who are actually here in the room, so that we can get some different opinions out there, because there are people who can't attend this conversation just because it's full. So take advantage of being here in this moment right now and share some of your thoughts. Okay, Nicole's queued up. Nicole said she has some stuff on her heart, but we're gonna get to Paris first. Okay, we got a lot of stuff here. Okay, charity events. I liking at the Battery. Okay, so I guess DeKalb Farmers Market, grocery store, a common hobby, traveling, casinos, charity events, Fet Life. I think that's like a kinky type thing. Really, pool. Okay, picnic. Chattahoochee Works. I don't know what that is. Golf, botanical garden. We got some great stuff. Home Depot. Convention of your interest. Okay, that's good. Volunteer events, comedy clubs, poetry, whatever's fun to you. The dog park, I can see that. Meetups a great place. Meetup is a great place to meet like-minded individuals. So some great suggestions in there. Thank everybody for putting some stuff out there. We're going to get to Paris. What's up, Paris? What you got for us?
Hey everybody, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. So I just wanted to chime in just to answer. Great conversation, by the way. I was really excited to join the call. So the single and happy myth is like, I don't think it's necessarily a myth. I think the two are not mutually exclusive. It's like, I don't think single, I don't think happiness is contingent on whether or not somebody is in a relationship. So I always find that's an interesting parallel, like when people ask that sort of question or bring that up. So I do think that people who are happy, or in their happiness, if you will, are probably the better people to date, and probably are in a better position to date, because that is vibrational. That is something that you can pour into somebody else, and you can share with somebody else, and vice versa. So I think
the folks who are saying they're happy single are really the folks that people should be trying to link up with, because they're already.
I think so. And because I think, like, somebody had chimed in, like, to talk about, like, it's when we are meeting somebody, and I know, like, finances and all those different responsibility and adulting pieces are important when we're thinking about relationships, but it's like, but we are individuals, we are people, so it's like, so when we're in our happiness, it's usually because we're tapped into a lot of different things that are feeding us, and we're not looking for somebody else to feed us. We are feeding ourselves in different ways. And usually that will show up, like, again, like, it's vibrational. So I wanted to share that. And then also, I like what Ike was, like, talking about, like, in a sense of, like, not approaching dating as an interview. And I think, like, that's one of the reasons why online dating is very difficult, because it's like you're already set up for that structure, right? you already know your intention of why you're meeting each other, and it's like, and so you already have like a battery of questions typically, you know, that you're going to ask the person to screen them out. And I think like that's why, like, one of my biggest questions that I came to this call with was, where are places where available men are who are open and interested and happy in themselves, but they're open for relationships? Because I don't, online dating doesn't work for me, and I have been like sitting there thinking, and I love all of the different ideas that people are sharing about where we can meet people. But I was actually talking with one of my younger sisters earlier about, you know, like meeting people. Like meetups are great, but it's like, if you're not meeting people or being exposed to the same people over a series of times, it's like you're not going to really have a chance of meeting somebody or building a connection with somebody, if you will. So I like what Ike was like talking about, like a class, you know, like maybe joining a sports, you know, like joining baseball or something along those lines, like something that's going to be a reoccurring thing where you're going to be exposed to the same people, at least for over a period of, you know, a certain number of weeks, where you can like increase your chances of building those connections. And I think meetups are really, really great for that as well.
Right.
So yeah, so I just wanted to share that. But thank you again
Yeah.
for this really good call.
You're welcome. Thanks, Paris. Thanks for sharing your thoughts with us. And I agree about Meetup being a great place. I'll say for that brothers dinner, we had I don't know, we had about 13 to 15 guys there, all single, and none of them said they were even close to being in a relationship, because I asked, and all them solid guys, decent jobs, are about their business. I will say that on a lot of those brothers, the Kevin Samuels energy runs strong. It runs strong in those brothers, but they still, for the most part, they're good guys, and they're out here, they're trying to meet people. So, and I've met these guys across several events, and it hasn't been the first time. So I think that for a lady who's involved in a meetup group, it doesn't have to be this one, it could be anyone, but I think that a meetup is a good place to kind of form a more of a friendship over time with people, and get to know people and know what they are about. We got Nicole up. Nicole, what you got for us?
Hi. So I agree with everything that Paris was saying, actually. And it's funny that you brought up Kevin Samuels, because initially when I ever heard him speak, I was always like, why is he talking to her like that? Like, he's so out of pocket. But then I took a second to take out like myself out of my feelings and listen to what he was saying and who he was saying it to and why he was saying it to them that way. And I actually think he had a lot of great points. You know, I just don't like the way he delivered it. Right. I don't like the way he had to condescend people. But I feel like for me, for dating, I have a different opinion, because I don't think about it. Like I came on here because I'm part of Power Her Up, and I was like, I'm not really sure why I'm on here.
Okay, you were in the session that yeah, that was awesome. Yeah, good time. Okay, what's up?
It was great. Yeah. And I got married to someone who tried to kill me. So, and I know I say that really lightly, but it's true. He strangled me for like a year. Almost lost my life over it. It was traumatic in the sense of that it just made me not want to give a flying fuck about nobody, but it didn't completely scar me. I just realized that dick isn't peaceful. Being alone is peaceful. And I'd spent so much of my life trying to make sure everybody else was happy, or find love, or date, looking for something. And in that relationship, I was wondering, it's not safe, girl. I was wondering, like, it's okay. It was the best thing that could have ever happened to me, because I had to understand why I found myself there. That was like priority one. How the fuck did I attract this in my life? What was broken in Nicole that allowed this nigga to come here and make me think that this was okay? Because I definitely lived my life like I didn't give a fuck, and I thought I could fuck with me. Clearly I didn't. So I understood what happened to me, and it'll never happen again. But in that sense, seeing people, people will hang themselves if you give them enough time. I'm not quick to jump to a conclusion like, oh, you're a great guy. You might seem real nice, but you could be a sociopath. So I'll wait. You don't get my number, but you can follow me on Instagram. And I just have really high expectations of myself in my life, and also feel like I'm made to be a wife. I know God made me to be a wife and to be a mother. So I know I'll be one, but I can't see it. I'm not pressed to get there. I feel like I'll know when it's there and it will find me. So if I'm dating, I know really quick. I'm not dating. I haven't dated in 3 years. But I'll go on a date. I'll get some dinner. I'll have a nice talk. If I like you, we can hang out. But I don't know. I just think that the most important thing is to be happy with yourself. That person is not responsible for your happiness. And that person can't fill any void. They're not your parent. They're not supposed to raise you. I personally feel like, yes, as men provide, I always gonna have my own. I definitely want to have my own because I'm never going to rely on nobody to give me money to get my hair done, to do what I want to do. We'll have our own money. We can have a joint account for like, you know, our kids and the house, but I'm definitely going to have a career. And I don't knock women who stay at home moms. I think it's the hardest job in the world, but I want to show my kids I can do both. So, you know, that's my opinion, I guess, on it. Is that
you said you would say some stuff. You certainly did. And you know, I don't know how I don't know how deep you want to go, but you talked about you had said something. You said dick is dangerous or something like
it's
that.
Not peaceful.
It's not peaceful and being single is peaceful. Have you to me when I hear that, it sounds awfully lot, and not to do this, not like I'm a therapist or anything else, but sounds a lot like trauma. You know, and do you recognize that, and have you sought means to therapy
and God. Yeah, that's the thing is I'm not like, I was scared for a while that it was gonna jade me and I was gonna become angry, and then especially maybe even towards Black men. You know, my dad's Black and I married a nigga, but I also felt like I was gonna think about all this shit and feeling some type of way. I don't feel that way. I love us. I think Black men are kings. I think we're the most powerful part of the world, and Black men, y'all be the most traumatized. Y'all go through the most, and I love us. But I love me more than I love anybody else. I have no kids, so I don't have anybody that I love more than me. And as much as I've been loving on everybody, I was like, you've been a Captain Save-A-Ho. That was my nickname in high school. I was like, your whole life, be a Captain Save-A-Nicole. You don't need to save anybody. You shouldn't have to. And love is not painful. Love isn't trauma. Love is hard. Love takes work. But love isn't getting woken up to being strangled in the middle of the night or being raped. That's not love. And there's no question there. You know?
It's not.
If you're not good.
Yeah. Now you say you did the reflecting. How was it that you think that a man like that enters a woman's orbit? Like, how does that happen?
Because I'm broken.
Okay, I got you. Okay.
I was broken because they are sociopathic narcissists feel empathy. They seek that out and then they mirror your great qualities you don't know they're mirroring. You fall in love basically with yourself, but you think it's them. But they're broken. And knowing that I'm the type of person that wanted to, I paid all the bills. I was drowning for him. I gave up everything. He lived for free. He was doing the most. I mean, it was like a one-way ticket to the rest of his life. But if I'm an easy target, why the fuck wouldn't he? Anybody would do it, but especially a sociopath. And that's why I say when the night I Googled what was in my home, the night he had sex with me and I didn't want to, and I was like, what is happening? I couldn't understand what the fuck this was. Nobody knew. I'm protecting him. Not one called police on him because he's Black and he's off his fucking rocker and he's saying he's going to provoke them to shoot him. I'd watch him die. I had to Google how this happens because I knew it had more to do with me than him. I don't blame him more than I not blame me for him, but took responsibility because I'm not about to be here again, ever, with another motherfucker that just looks different. It's not going to happen. Broken attracts broken. Everything that happens to us is majority responsibility is on us. We allow it. So we have to fix whatever that root is, not mask it, but fix it to ever actually elevate. We got to get better so we get better. You know, that was what I was attracting.
Absolutely.
That's the level I was on. And I was not about to be there forever.
Wow. Great stuff, Nicole. Thank you for being vulnerable and really sharing with us. And thanks, Samantha, too, for I guess referring you to us, and kind of because y'all, I can tell that in the ladies group, the Power Her Up ladies group, that y'all really dive in deep over there. And Samantha's a sweet soul, and it's good
She's
that and it's good that you were here and so vulnerable. You said a lot of stuff there that I'm sure a lot of ladies I certainly identify with. And Kevin said something in chat, and I agree completely. It's so sad when someone else's bad actions will make you doubt who you are. That's deep, Kevin.
Oh
That's really deep. That's really deep.
Breaks your spirit. Thank you.
Thanks, Nicole. Thanks for sharing. I guess I guess all the camera folks have said their piece, and I've seen Natalie in person, I've seen Monique in person. I guess they just not, maybe ladies aren't camera ready tonight, but nevertheless, we'll hear from them, see what they have to say. And thanks so much, Nicole. That was great share. What's up, Nat?
Hey guys, so I might say something that is probably not popular amongst the ladies or just being like playing devil's advocate, but I'm all for healthy relationships and being in one and making sure that you're not compromising who you are just to be with someone or be with someone out of desperation, because I am a person who has been single for quite some time, going on 6 years now, that I have not dated somebody seriously. And when I mean seriously, I'm talking about like, past the high getting to know you stage and be more than like some months old into it. But I kind of cringe when I hear women say like, I don't need a man, or I'm independent, or this and that. And it's just like, yeah, it's nice. Yeah, you don't need dick. Yeah, you don't need a man. But for how long though? Like, are you gonna be, 40 years old, 50 years old, 60 years old and still be single and think that's cool? Like, I don't think that is a good thing. Like, I think God put us on this earth to procreate, to find a partnership, to find help. Like, it's not like the other day, I literally like almost slipped in my I was like washing my hair in the shower, and I slipped and messed up my knee. And I'm just like, wow, like thank God it wasn't worse than it was. But I'm thinking like, ain't nobody in this house that would have saved me and brought me to the hospital. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we need men. You need a wife. You need a husband. Like, you're not meant to be on this earth alone, especially if you don't have kids. Like, who is going to really be taking care of you when you are sick? Like, I don't even have family in the state of Georgia. So if something happens to me, I literally have to call my friend and pray that they have enough time to deal with my situation. And that's crazy because it's like, I don't have anybody else that I could rely on like that. So I cringe when I hear like women say that, oh, I don't need a man. I don't need this. I'm just trying to figure out, yeah, it's cute now. It's cute in the interim, but how long is that going to be okay? That's just my question for everyone.
Yeah, thanks, Natalie, and that was great, and I think that goes back to what I shared earlier in the presentation, talking about changing your attitude, changing your vibration, just changing that whole dynamic, the things you say and what you're attracting. It matters. I don't know if you remember that, not to get dive too deep, but you remember you asked a question a little bit ago, and you said, you were talking about, should women say, you're going back and forth like, I don't need a man, but I want you. And you remember that, or should women just stick to, hey, I need a man? Do you remember you talked about that a little while ago? Has your position changed on that?
In terms of like needing a man versus wanting a man,
yeah,
I need the one that I want. Like,
all right, so you've developed that a little bit, okay.
Like, I'm not going to
like that.
I'm not going to lower my standards, because I sure enough am not going to put myself in a position where I, again, am going to be with someone just because I am desperate or I feel lonely. No, the point is to get a man that I want and that needs me as well as I need them. Period.
All right. Thanks, Nat. She said, I need the man I want. A while ago, we were going back. I was going back and forth with her because she had said, I don't need a man, I want a man. But I guess she's evolved that, and she's saying now that I need the man that I want. I like that. That's a good evolution, Natalie. Thank you. What's up, Shadrika? What's up? What you got for us?
Hi, everybody. I truly believe that people that are happy with themselves are like the best people to interact with, because they are able to not make that other person their whole life. When people are content with themselves, they don't make people that they're in a relationship with feel like they can't move without them, because that creates a lot of tension, because you've got your friends, he's got his friends, and sometimes it's not about y'all being together all the time. It's about everybody being able to be comfortable in their own space. And then also too, even with like dating now, what I don't understand is why it always, like, you can't have a conversation with somebody with it always going towards sex. And I get that men want sex or whatever, but I mean, I feel like you want a woman that's clean, and you want a woman that's not in the streets and for the streets, but you want to treat her like she's for the streets and in the streets, and then want to feel some kind of way. And the woman should be okay with you basically, to me, I feel like you piss nothing in everything that come across your way. You nothing with no value. And then you want to come and be in my face and think that I'm supposed to be okay with that until you figure out what you're trying to do or what you want to do. And and for me, sex is a spiritual thing. You creating chaos in my house, which is my body, because you bringing all these women back to me, because this is you out here spreading yourself around and not really thinking about what you're doing, because it's just the act that you're thinking about, and you're not thinking about the higher purpose or what goes on during that act. And it's really hard because you've got social media sensationalizing it, making it okay, and you've got women that want to be in relationships, and they're doing like the gentleman earlier, his girlfriend, she was friends with benefits. She got, she was okay with having that type of relationship with him, knowing that he was out there, in hopes that she would be the one to get chosen. And she did what she had to do to be in that position. But do we really have to just put ourselves out there and just lay out there for every man to figure out what he wants? Like, you just gonna continue to just nut around here until you come back and say, oh, I pick you. Like, I don't get that.
Right. I think for a lot of us, men and women, but especially so for women in the online dating space, and even just dating past a certain age, it's going to be a lot of trying to find a needle in a haystack and trying to find a diamond in the rough, how those sayings goes. But I think that with those men who you talked about, how things quickly lead into sex, and that just kind of goes to, that the man who does that is playing games, kind of like what I spoke about earlier, that the man who's leading with sex, especially really early on, that man's playing games and he's not intentional. I think that, that's just a sign that, hey, this isn't the one, and it's time to just continue and keep the search. Now, granted, I know men are, we do have we're more preoccupied with sex early on than women, and we want to have it quicker than women, but it shouldn't be just right out the gate. And I think that's a telltale sign that guy's playing games. And that's how we talk about the games men play. That's certainly it right there. Thanks for sharing, Cedrica. Monique, what's up with you? What you got for us?
Hey, so first I want to say that I feel like I need to represent for my city, because a lot of people are coming for Atlanta. And these problems, like you said, this is across America, right? Like, this is not just an Atlanta thing. This is not the men from Atlanta. These are not the women from Atlanta. It's people that move here. I got friends in other states that, are having the same issues. So it's not just because we're here in Atlanta. But I do want to say, too, that one thing that we sometimes fail to do is show up authentically when we are dating. We often are showing up to dates or in the dating scene with our representative, and also not really understanding like who you are and what it is that you're looking for. Like the guy that spoke first, he, said that he was very honest when he was dating his current girlfriend. I was just like, listen, I'm just trying to, be friends with benefits. And sometimes people aren't able to do that, or people aren't able to hear that. Like, I think us as women, and I hate to jump on the women, but we don't listen. There are videos out there that say like, okay, if a man tells you that he is not looking for a serious relationship, but he's doing all the things relationship like, he taking you on dates, he calling you all the time, he didn't introduce you to his family. So you think like, oh, okay, well, he said he didn't want a relationship, but he doing all the relationship stuff. But you need to listen to what he said. Sometimes people's actions and their words don't match up. And if you start to get confused, like, wait a minute, your words and your actions aren't matching up, then you need to have that conversation. And people are often too scared to have that conversation because they feel like they're not gonna get the results that they want. But we have to open our eyes, our ears, and have those in our mouth, and have those conversations to say, this is what I'm looking for. If they are not able to provide that, or they are not there yet, then it's time to move on, because otherwise you're going to end up being hurt. And that's the part that people are trying to avoid, but sometimes it's inevitable because of our own actions.
Absolutely. Thanks, Monique. You said some key stuff there, and you echo back. You said showing up. A lot of us aren't showing up as our authentic selves, and that was echo back to what Ike had said earlier. And I agree completely in terms of how we're approaching dating, and we're entering the dating market, showing up as our authentic selves. And he said a lot of folks out here are dating, we're not clear on what it is that we want. And I agree completely too. And I think somebody asked me like, what's, you know, what's up with having all these relationship conversations? Has it done any good? And I said on an individual level, for me, it certainly has, because it's made me become more clear and focused about what it is that I want. And so when you become focused on what it is you want, you can filter easier the people who are not aligned with you and where it is that you're trying to go in your life. But thanks, Monique. You shared a lot of good stuff there. Thank you. What's up, Regina?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good.
Hi. So, you know, I have done the online dating thing for a long time, you know, off and on, but never usually more than a month. And because, you know, I think it's just normal to be open, you know, even if you don't find anybody, even if you think that you're not going to find somebody, because I think it just keeps me like normalized, right? But what I find is that usually the conversation starts off good, but then when it goes south, because it's usually by the second or third conversation, it ends up like some men run out of, I guess they just don't really want to be authentic and be too transparent. So they automatically like run to the sex base, right? And so sometimes I ask myself, what are the women accepting? Because I'm wondering, I'm saying to myself, you know, what are we doing? What are we listening to? What are we putting out here? Because there's so many men nowadays, because I've never had really that kind of problem. I usually attract like spiritual men like on that are really not thinking, you know, dwelling on a lot of superficial things. So I tend to attract, you know, a different kind of man. I won't say, you know, the gym buff and the one that looks like he's in the magazine, which I see a lot of that too, which, but I ask myself, what are we settling for? You know, and it makes me think, you know, I put the responsibility back on the sisters, even if, you know, women don't agree with me on this, because I'm thinking we're lowering our standards. And so this is why brothers are coming with this nonsense. And I'm like, wait a minute, what are we doing that's making these brothers think they could come and say certain things to like stuff I didn't hear when I was in my 20s and 30s. You're talking about men in their 50s talking, you know, some stuff that would not keep the average 50-year-old woman's attention. So I'm thinking I'm just thinking we've lowered our standards, our expectations, what we expect, what we'll accept. Like we're compromising a lot as women, maybe because out of desperation and loneliness is making women lower their standards. So these men don't have a problem with saying they want you to do all kind of crazy sexual acts on them. You know, they just got to go there. They want to know if they get a moment with you, if they get a little intimate moment with you, they want to just do it all. I mean, it's just really, because, you know, me having been married before, more than once, never really having to, you know, do any like freaky, crazy, wild stuff to get anybody to propose to me. So I find it offensive to have strangers. I don't know if men realize it's very, is very forward and offensive for you to just go there when you don't really know the person, right? So I don't get it. So I just think we women have to raise our standards and don't compromise just because men will reach us where, you know, they will step it up if we demand that. But I think when we compromise, we're not going to get the kind of men that we really need.
Right. Great share. Thanks, Regina. And that's wild. That's interesting. I thought that as you know, I thought that as we age, we would get a little wiser, and we wouldn't play some of the same games that we play in our 20s and maybe early 30s.
Yeah,
But you're saying from your perspective, guys are still out here wilding out. That's pretty interesting. That's pretty interesting. That doesn't appeal to me, being 50 and still out here in these streets just trying to get it in. That's wild. What's up, Dane? What's up? What you got for us? Y'all raise your hand, y'all. We looks like we might be reaching the end of our conversation. So if y'all wanna somebody wanna get some words in there, y'all go ahead. I'm not gonna keep y'all here tonight, but we certainly have time, and we still got a good number of people here. So people seem to be enjoying the conversation, and I guess people are picking up some stuff. So definitely, if you want to get in, go ahead and hit that reaction button at the bottom of Zoom, and we'll let you get your word in there. I don't know if we're gonna do breakout rooms tonight. I don't know if I want to do breakout rooms tonight. I don't know. I feel like we pretty much covered, at least with the things that folks have shared and things that I've shared and whatnot. I feel like we've covered it pretty good. We may just end the recording and then just chop it up and go from there. But I don't know if we'll do breakout rooms. What's up, Dane?
All right. So first off, Monique, I think she brought up some real good points earlier. But one thing I'll say is that with a lot of women I hear is that they know they're going to be a wife. They know it'll happen. That man will come to them when it's time and things like that. And the things when I hear that, it kind of bothers me is that even with, like, in the case of my sister, I have to encourage her a lot of times. You're going to have to go out the house. Maybe if you're not big on online banking, which is an option, put yourself where you think the men that you say so you've done the reflection, what type of man you want. You have this list of what these men are going to check. But one thing I feel like they don't take the next step on is then finding out where those type of men most likely would be and putting yourself in position to meet those men. Because it's great to do the work on yourself and to deal with trauma, do the therapy, do the personal growth. But if you're never in where those men that you want are going to be, or you find yourself meeting the same type of man, but you go to the same places, I find that it kind of bothers me when I see that, because I'm like, you're literally doing the same things that got you the same type of guys you say you don't want. And you're not going out there and putting yourself in different things, maybe out of your regular comfort zone, where these men most likely are. Or you even doing the research where those type of men even do, what their patterns are. Like you got to put some sort of effort to put yourself in position to find this man. If you're saying God has this in your future, then it's just like when they have the story of the man being on the roof during the flood, and then he sends a helicopter and he said, "Nah, God's gonna save me," and he sends somebody a boat, God's gonna save me. If you're not putting putting yourself in position and using the tools that you've been given to put yourself in position to meet these type of guys, then you're kind of not doing yourself any service, no matter how much self-improvement you do. And on the guy's side, like I said, when I divorced, one of the things I reflected on, I come from back in the day when it was tell them what you want to hear, tell them what they want to hear as far as what you do to get the women you want. And I actually had to kind of get out of that mindset to be able to be upfront and do that. And a lot of guys, especially when you're coming from younger, when you talk game like that, that's what you know. And sometimes it takes time or going through experiences to kind of get out of that. So I encourage guys to, you don't necessarily have to do what that old school, just putting your best foot forward and telling them what they want to hear. A lot of times, if you take the time to kind of really be like, all right, what I will or won't tolerate and what I want at that time, like I said, whether it is, hey, I just want this, or I want something more serious on long term, and being able to see that. But that takes work to kind of be in that position to be that straightforward and be honest from a male and female perspective. And again, you had to put in some work to be that honest with someone.
There you go. Great commentary, Dane. I'm gonna launch a poll here about the breakout rooms. And for people who aren't familiar with breakout rooms, they're just basically, we're still being Zoom, but I can split it up so that everybody's filtered into smaller rooms. And some people may be comfortable with a smaller crowd, and it might make for better sharing or more sharing in a breakout room. But if your plan is to go in a breakout room and just talk crazy, just go ahead and leave. We appreciate you coming out tonight. Just go ahead and leave. No craziness in the breakout room. Breakout room's not a chance for hooking up or trying to find. Well, if you're trying to find somebody, cool. But on a serious note, on an intentional note, that's cool too. But I'm gonna launch this poll here real quick just to see if y'all want to do breakout rooms, and we'll do a majority rules here. But I launched a poll here, give y'all a chance to ask if you want to do breakout rooms, if you don't want to do a breakout room. Do 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 do. Give you 10 more seconds. Do 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 do. All right, ending the poll here, and it's a no-go on the breakout room. 66% don't want to do a breakout room, and I'm not in a breakout room mood either. So I'm in agreement with the 66%. Sorry, y'all. No breakout room tonight. I think we pretty much covered what we want to cover anyway, y'all. But what you got for us, Ike?
Yeah, sure. I'll be brief. I'm sure there's some people that want to talk. But yeah. One thing I've been like is a common theme, because many people made some really good points. One thing I don't get is the going out to find like a man or a woman. Like you don't go to places, right? Like to find people, right? Like you have interactions. One thing that we do that we should be doing is living life. Like if you're going out, you meet new friends, you meet new people. You don't just meet people that you want to be in a relationship with, because what this can lead to is a very great effect where you meet someone through a mutual acquaintance. That's how a lot of relationships actually start. You can go out, you can do speed dating, you can go to events. Yeah, fine. But you have to build a network. After building that network, then you can actually, move forward in your dating life. It makes things a hell of a ton easier. I promise you. The second thing is, when it comes to expectations, right? Say being a wife, being being a husband, etc. If you guys heard me speak before, you're pretty much familiar with my stance on this. I'm not really for the traditional route, really, but for the people who are, a lot of people have different expectations on how they want to live life. Like when you become a wife, when you become a husband, you're still an individual, right? But you play a certain role, right? And there has to be some agreement, there has to be some conversations to make your life enjoyable while in that engagement. You cannot just go, well, I'm a wife now, I guess I'm gonna pick up what was it? 7 hours of extra chores. Like, no, right. Like you can plan this out. You can make your marriage. That's the happiest you can be. But if you try to, get somebody and make them fill this role, then here's where the unhappiness starts to brew. A lot of these things are customary. And the very last thing too, when you meet somebody, a lot of the games that start comes from miscommunication. I love transparency. I don't care if it's corny, whatever. If you like somebody, let them know. If you have intentions, let them know. But also follow up on those interactions. Don't just ghost them because, oh, well, they didn't text back. They must have no interest at all. You have to shoot for it, on both sides, man. We need to kind of get rid of this standard that, say like guys have to make X move, girls have to show some form of this. Like, just go for it, be yourself. And also, last thing, get better friends. All right. If your friends are thriving off of the negativity on how you played somebody or you just got sex from somebody, whatever, get rid of them. You want people that are happy for you, when you meet somebody, when you have a great interaction or whatever. My most important thing is get better friends, get a better support group. Don't get people that cheer you on for manipulating someone, etc. Because that's how these problems start, especially in the guys network. I've been through that. Yeah. But all right, I've talked enough.
No, good commentary. I can only one point. If I saw you, to me, you were shooting. You were on target all night. One thing I may disagree with you on is women shooting their shot. And Will said women shooting their shot. He had the eyes open emoji, and I don't know about that because I think that men are interested you know, men are not going to tell you they're not interested, because even if they're not interested in you, and I think a lot of ladies, especially here, are intentional and relationship focused. Even if a man's not interested in you, shoot your shot. And even if he's not interested in a relationship, he's still interested in you for sex. So I think it's harder for y'all to being on the opposite end of that to suss through a guy's motives if you're shooting your shot, because they're not going to be as forthcoming as y'all are with rejection. They'll just kind of leave you hanging around and still try to get whatever it is they want from you. But they're not just going to be forthright and say they're not interested in a relate. A lot of guys aren't going to be forthright and tell you they're not interested in a relationship. So that's the only reason why I don't think that I don't necessarily agree with women shooting their shot, just because guys can be a little bit more and there's science on that. I was actually watching a video by I can't remember who it was a TED Talk, and he was one of the foremost experts on psychology, something like that. But it said that men, with our dating practices, we can be a little more deceptive in terms of in our pursuit of sex. So it's scientifically proven. So if there's anything that I just might disagree with on that one point, but other than that, I agree with you overall. What's up, Kim? Go, you want to rebut real quick?
Oh, just one sentence, and that's it for everybody, because I'm sure everyone agrees with that, which is, you know, a perception of what we consider insanity when it comes to the dating world is doing the very same thing hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times and expecting different results. That's all I have to say. Try something new.
There you go. Thanks, Ike. What's up, Kim? What you got for us?
I was just gonna say, if you actually read articles, you can see where they say a lot of European American and Asian Americans of getting into relationships online. It was like 39%. So what's crazy to me is when we hear people say we shouldn't do this and we shouldn't do that, but it's working for our counterparts. Another thing that's kind of capped is when we keep hearing people say, oh, you shouldn't look for love. You look for a job, you look for a house, but you think someone's gonna knock at your door like, hey, I'm your perfect mate, let's hook up. Like, to me, it's just insane. I mean, from traveling, I can tell you right now, women have no problems of having conversations. And no, it's not because you just have a U.S. passport, because contrary to public belief, there's some Negroes outside this plantation living better than some of these folks here who are making 200 grand. Their houses are bigger and everything else. So I don't think it's anything wrong with having a conversation. The only reason why it doesn't work is the caliber of guys that approach it. It's not talking to men, but if you're talking to players, you're going to get played. It's like if you talk to a liar, you're going to be lied to. If you don't have a moral compass, dating will not work for you if you went to Mars.
There you go. Thank you. I agree with everything you said there, Ken. Talk about how for other groups, dating, you know, the online dating is working. I agree. Like I said, if it's 2018, 40% of new couples were meeting each other online. So there's definitely some validity to it. And then you also talked about that second part, and it just slipped my mind what you said on that second part. And you said something good too. What was that second part of your commentary, real quick? I had a follow-up I want to say to it. You remember what you said?
But the sisters are talking to guys outside the country?
No, before that.
Oh, like wait for someone to knock at your door that says I'm a perfect mate.
Dang, I can't remember. You said something. I'll probably catch you on the playback, but
well, you recorded, so
yeah,
you catch on the playback.
Yeah, thanks, Ken. Thanks, brother. What you got for us, Levon?
It's Levan. That's the correct pronunciation.
All right.
But one of the key things I keep hearing everybody say is like they're looking at the other person. Why does the man do this? Why does the woman do this? Like we have to stop dividing ourselves and come together. You understand what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people don't want to change. Like everybody wants everybody else to change. You know what I mean? But who you are is what you're gonna attract. So if you don't change yourself, you are gonna keep getting the same results. There's a meme that I had posted, and it said, I want to meet myself from another person's point of view and experience my own energy. A lot of people think they're doing good out here. But if you were somebody else, you would actually see yourself. Like we have eyes, we look out. Unless you're in the mirror, you're vain or something. Like we don't see ourselves. We see everybody else. So I get it, but take the time to, however you could do it, call it like a mirror or whatever, to look back at yourself. And a lot of the games, everything was stopped. That's all I wanted to say. I ain't gonna.
Oh, that's good, man. I like that. Having a mirror and being able to see yourself, and that goes back to being that we can't do that. We can't experience ourselves. That's where I think having somebody, an accountability partner of some sort, or just some people in your circle, like Ike talked about, your network, who can kind of keep it real with you and keep it honest, and you know, you can kind of see yourself through them, because you can't, self-awareness can only take us so far. But I like that. Great share.
The other thing, when you the original part of the conversation, something about is happy single or single happy, a myth or something like that. A lot of people spoke about that. I think if you're not happy, then how could you come into a relationship and bring happiness? Like, you're going to be miserable bringing luggage, let's say. Like, you're bringing luggage, and then they're going to expect the other person to help them unpack that luggage. Like, no, unpack your luggage, then come holler at me. You know what I mean? Like, so you have to be happily single in order to be happy in a relationship. Like, a relationship is not going to make you happy. You got to be like happy from the jump.
Right. Good stuff. Good stuff. Thanks, Levin. Last up, we're gonna have I think Tawan's gonna close us out. We're gonna stop recording, and we'll probably we'll be in a big, large Zoom room for maybe 30 minutes afterwards. And I saw some people pulling up late. We got the late crowd. What's up, Josh? I saw you pull up. Will, pull up. What's up? I saw you, Will. Saw some folks getting in late. What's up, y'all? Hope y'all having a good Tuesday night. Tawan's gonna close us on out for the for the conversation. What's up, Tawana? What you got for us?
Hi, how are you?
I'm good.
Good. I was just going to agree with what you were stating about the fact that we should not probably approach men. And I think the reason that I agree with you is for the reasons you stated, but also I believe that we'll probably get blamed for it. Like, a lot of times men sometimes think that we're already too independent as well. They think we're already, too independent. So therefore, if you now take on the leadership role of approaching a man, now we're taking on another male role, which is just going to complicate things even further.
Right.
Then I also wanted to say that you mentioned intentional dating, and it would have been nice to have a poll about that, because it doesn't matter if the women, if the men are not intentional, it won't matter if the women are intentionally dating. You know what I'm saying? Because we're not going to be on the same page. So I was thinking about the fact that how men and women are socialized sometimes. Women are socialized, I think Dane brought it up, where he mentioned, like his sister wanting to get married and so on and so forth. As young girls, we have our Barbies, she's got the wedding dress, the whole 9 yards. Men, on the other hand, are not socialized the same way to get married, to have families and all of that, and to do that. So it's more socially acceptable for men to have several women and to kind of like sow your royal oats and all that other thing. Whereas with women, we're told, well, no, you're not supposed to do that. So I guess I'm saying all that to say, if we're socialized in one way and you all are socialized another way, we're dating to be intentional, you guys are not, then we're not going to be able to come together in an agreement, so to speak. And how can two walk together except they agree? So it would have been nice to have a poll, and maybe to find out how many people are dating intentionally as men, and how many of the women are dating intentionally, just to kind of see, where we are.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah, I think you made up some great points. And I do think overall, as a culture, men aren't socialized to pursue marriage, especially early on, the same way that women are. So you would get a discrepancy in real life. But I don't know if a poll here in this group would have been accurate to what y'all would be experiencing in real life, because I think a lot of the guys who show up here on our conversations, if they're not intentional, they certainly aspire to be intentional daters. So I don't think it would have been too accurate. But I will say, from the men's dinner that we had, and I think Kevin, toward the end of the dinner, we were trying to talk about some solutions. It was called Brothers Gonna Work It Out. And they had asked me what I think some solutions are for just moving the culture, the community forward. And I think Kevin, if Kevin's still here, he can testify. O's here, O was there, Will was here, they were there, but they can testify. I said that I think that we, us men, we have to be intentional, and we have to be stand-up guys. And I said that to a lot of the guys there. But I feel like a lot of guys, they lost hope with the they're losing hope out here, to be honest with you, because y'all experience one thing, but guys are experiencing something else that's different. The problems are different, but a lot of guys are becoming discouraged too. So I think that discouragement drives them further away from trying to be intentional. And so there's things that are happening on both ends of the spectrum. But I do agree that even if women were to all of a sudden become intentional, it would still be a hard road to go. but that is true, Tawana, and I agree with you there. So we got to work it out. And I think it's going to take more men standing up for what's right, or trying to encourage better behavior and practices from men. And I think with Kevin and Ron's here starting the men's dinner, where we come together and hold each other accountable and be honest with each other. I think it's a good start, and more things are like that are going to happen across the board. But I can certainly say it's happening in our meetup group. But let me go ahead and open it up. Let me go ahead and end the recording first. Where's the end record button? Did I not tell me a pause record? Let me stop.